We are all Americans. At the end of the day, we sink or swim together, all of us. Whether they came from Sweden, like my square-headed, block-headed forebears, or whether they came from Russia, or whether they came from Germany, or Italy, or France, or Brazil, or wherever. Lincoln said in 1856, he said, more than half of our population comes from other countries. And when they read through the Constitution, what they read through is really kind of the rule book of the country. It's the rules and the laws, and some things they don't like and other things they do. I think you were talking about the 3/5 clause in the Constitution. When you read that and you think, my goodness. Let me make a footnote there. The 3/5 clause is the clause in the Constitution originally written which allowed southern states to count 3/5 of their slave population toward representation in Congress. And sometimes I hear this spoken of as, well, the Constitution is only recognizing black people as being 3/5 of a human being. When actually the real context of that is the people who wanted 5/5 of blacks represented, counted for representation, were southern slaveholders. Because if they could count all of their black slave population toward representation in Congress, that would give them more power. It was the anti-slavery people of New England who wanted the slaves counted as 0/5, because their argument was, if you're not going to allow black people to be human beings, why should we let you count them towards your population and your representation in Congress? So the compromise that gets arrived at is 3/5, not trying to say that black people were 3/5 of a person, but because this was the way of keeping the Southerners from getting, the slaveholders from getting too much power in Congress. That's just an aside.
That might have been an interpretation there.
Right.
I'm going to say that in ordinary statements.
In ordinary statements.
It's still there.
Right. You look at that and the first conclusion you draw. Right.
As being spoken of a person.
Right.
Of such.
Now,
not a full court.
Right. That would be the first conclusion we would draw from it today, just reading it cold. And Lincoln says when people from other countries read the Constitution, they read the laws, they read the statute books, and they read them cold, they find things, what are these Americans up to? But then Lincoln said when they read in the Declaration of Independence what those old men wrote, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Then, said Lincoln, then they feel that they are flesh of the flesh and blood of the blood of those old men that wrote the Declaration. Lincoln said, I have never had a thought politically which did not grow out of the Declaration of Independence. That was his pole star by which he navigated. Did we always navigate as a people straight by that pole star? Heavens no. Heavens no. Our national wake would break a snake's back. But that is our star, the Declaration. That is the proposition on which 77 years ago the nation was conceived, and which the Civil War was the great test of, to see whether a nation that's steered by that star could really endure, really had being, really could stand up to kings and emperors and tyrants and dictators and say, we don't need you. We don't need you to tell us what to do. We can govern ourselves. The Civil War was a test of that. That is why the dedication that Lincoln called for in the Gettysburg Address is still a dedication that we are called to make of ourselves, because it doesn't stop. Every generation experiences that test. Either experiences that test from Civil War, or it experiences that test from the contest for civil rights. Every generation faces that test. Can a nation founded such as ours long endure? And whether it is a battlefield or whether it is the Pettus Bridge in Selma, we are testing ourselves. Happily, so far we're getting a passing grade, I think, because we are all here and we are all free, and we are freer than we have ever been before. Do we go on from here to greater freedom, to greater liberty, to greater understanding? We will if we are guided by that pole star that Lincoln talked about. Democracy by principle and not just by process.
Well, Professor Guelzo, as a token of our appreciation for your coming from your duties as a teacher at Gettysburg, we'd like to give you a Hauenstein Center tote bag. It's got several things related to Ralph Hauenstein in here. At Andy's Mints, you know, Ralph Hauenstein is responsible for Andy's Mints, in addition to goldfish crackers and things like that. Pocket Constitution, which I'm sure you will find useful, and also a book by Ralph Hauenstein, Intelligence Was My Line. This was the book about his experience when he was head of intelligence during D-Day under Eisenhower. So it'll be a very good reading for you, and we thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you.
The last thing I want to mention, besides thanking you for being here, is that Professor Guelzo has graciously agreed to stay a while. There are books of his on sale out here, and you would be welcome to go mill around, talk, pick up a book. He'll be around 15, 20 minutes to sign. Thanks very much.